Hi guys, happy to see you back. This video is the continuation to the previous video of introduction to the cloud computing. Okay, so in this video we're just going to see very basic thing. Okay, first we are going to see the basic differences between the traditional computing and the cloud computing. The conventional computing is traditional computing, and what are the very basic differences between the traditional and the cloud computing. Okay, first, what are the main difference in the sense I know with the conventional computing, in terms of conventional computing, and it is a manually provisioned. So manually in the sense, whatever the services that we are in need, whatever the services that is being provided, and everything will be done manually. Okay, and everything will be controlled manually only. But in case of cloud computing, it is a self provision. So if you are in need of some set of services, those set of services can be availed from the cloud, the cloud service provider. Whatever the services that we are in need, say for an example, if I am in need of Google Docs, in the sense that only that services can be availed from the Google domain. Okay, so if I wish to go for a Gmail, then I can get into the Gmail domain. I can access my email. This is the self provision. Okay, in terms of cloud computing, it's a self provision, but in terms of traditional computing, it is a manually provision. Okay, this is the first difference. And coming to the second difference, is in a traditional computing, whatever the hardware that is being provided, and everything is in a dedicated one. Dedicated in the sense, say for an example, if I am owning a laptop with with the 4 GB of RAM, okay, and whatever the, not only the RAM, whatever the hardware resource that I am using, everything will be dedicated to me only. Okay, that cannot be shared to someone else. So that is called as dedicated hardware. But in case of cloud computing, and whatever the hardware that I'm going to avail through the cloud computing, and that is being shared. Say for an example, the CSP is having some set of hardware resources as a pool. So say for an example, if a user one interact with the CSP, if they are accessing some set of hardware and partial hardware, okay, say for an example, this hardware, say for an example, this CSP is providing 6 GB of RAM, in the sense, say for a scenario. Okay, for a scenario, consider if I am having a hardware with 16 GB, if the particular user one is is in need of 2 GB of RAM, only 2 GB will be provided, only 2 GB will be available by the user one. Rest of 14 GB can be used by some other users. So that is called as shared hardware. Okay, and no need to worry about it, and see, this can be studied in much detail in an upcoming units. Okay, no need to worry about this right now. Okay, and this shared hardware can be achieved with the help of virtualization concept. Virtualization is the backbone of the cloud computing. So without virtualization concept, the cloud computing is not in a position to deliver the services. Kindly make a note of it. Virtualization is one of the important terms, one of the important component of the cloud computing. Without virtualization concept, and the cloud computing is not in a position to provide any set of services. Okay, and coming to the next difference, and this one is the fixed capacity, as I have already told. So if I am owning a laptop with 4 GB of RAM, even if I wish to upgrade the RAM capacity, that is subjected to some set of limitations only. So based on the computer architecture of my laptop, I can upgrade to some set of, say for an example, 8 GB or 16 GB of RAM only. Okay, but in case of cloud computing, it is elastic capacity. Elastic in the sense, I can scale up or I can scale down. Just listen properly. So elastic capacity is nothing but elastic capacity, which means that, so I can increase the services, I can increase the size, I can increase the hardware resources, as well as I can decrease the hardware resources. The increase is nothing but scale up. And the decrease is nothing but scale down. I can scale up or scale down based on my requirements, based on the needs. So okay, say for an example, in a previous video, what I have told, whenever in a peak time, I have to increase the number of servers in the isn't it? Okay, so which means that I am going to scale up the number of servers after the peak time. Okay, once the peak time has over, reducing the number of services, which means the scale down the number of services. That is called as elastic capacity. Okay, in a conventional computing, we pay for capacity. So whatever the capacity, whatever the hardware resources or whatever the application that we are owning, and everything we need to pay for it. But in case of cloud computing, and it is called as pay for use. Okay, based on our usage only, we are going to pay. Okay, and that is another one of the important advantages of the cloud computing. Okay, give me some amount of time. Let me erase this. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. Well, fine. Okay, coming to the next one, and capital and operational expenses are involved in in a traditional computing, which means the capital expenses in this, I need to invest the whole amount, right? I need to, if I wish to purchase a server or if I wish to purchase a desktop, I need to invest a whole amount of money. Okay, that is called as capital expenses. Operational expenses in the sense, for maintaining the particular thing, I need to spend some amount of money. That is called as operational expenses. In traditional computing, both capital expenses and operational expenses are involved. But in case of cloud computing, only operational expenses. Okay, and based on the usage of particular hardware resources or particular platform or particular platform as a services or particular software as a services, based on our usage, and we are going to pay. Okay, so that is called as operational expenses. Okay, and coming to the last differences between the cloud computing and the conventional computing, in the sense, in terms of traditional computing, and everything will be managed manually through the system admins. Okay, say for an example, if I wish to manage the system in the sense, that will be managed by system admins. If I wish to manage the network, and network will be managed by the network admin. If I wish to manage the DB, and everything will be managed by the database admins. Okay, so here, and all the process involves a manual work. Okay, that is called as traditional computing. But here in a cloud computing, and everything will be managed via APIs. API is nothing but application program interface. Okay, and everything will be automatic. Everything will be autonomy, and everything will be autonomy, as well as everything will be controlled with the help of APIs. Okay, so this is the very basic, very common differences between traditional computing and cloud computing. Okay, and the next we are going to see, why do we need of cloud computing? As in a previous video, I have explained on an example with the help of in a normal time I'm owning one server. In a peak time, I'm going to go for a 4 number of set of servers, right? Okay, that is one of the important, one of the biggest disadvantages in a traditional computing. So here, okay, so the cost of the servers and infrastructures are increasing day by day. Okay, this is one of the disadvantages in a traditional computing, and because we need to purchase as well as we need to maintain. That is called as the capital and operational expenses are involved. Capital and operational expenses are involved in a traditional computing. That is one of the biggest disadvantages in a traditional computing. Okay, and as I have said earlier, in a non-peak time, which means that if it is in a non-peak time, those computing resources will be underutilized. That can be put it in an idle position. Okay, that can be put it in an idle one. Okay, so this is another disadvantage of the traditional computing. And the last one, environmental damage due to increase in hardware. So these three are one of the main disadvantages in traditional computing. The solution to such issues is cloud computing. With the help of cloud computing, we can eradicate these set of disadvantages. Okay, and we will see and we will dig deeper much into that particular topic later of the unit. Okay, no need to worry about it right now. Okay, and next, characteristics of cloud computing. And NIST defined the cloud computing has 5 essential characteristics. First one is on-demand self-service. So on-demand, in the sense, what do you mean by on-demand? Whenever the user is in need of, those set of services only will be provided. Okay, so even though CSP has n number of services, all those services will not be provided to the user unless it is being demanded by the respective user. Say for an example, name A, B, C, D, E. Say for an example, CSP is providing 5 set of services in the sense, say for an example, the user U1 is availing only the services A, which means that user U1 can access only the services of A, okay, and rest of the services will not be available, that cannot be available by the U1, because the user 1 has not demanded those set of services, okay. Based on the user demands, the services will be provided by the cloud service provider, okay. What is the second one? Second one is the broad network access. As you all know, the broad network, say for an example, the Google data center, the DC, say for an example, the DC, which means the data center. The data center is located in, in all corner of the world, so which is one of the which is one of the important characteristics of the cloud computing. And the next one is a resource pooling. The resource pooling in the sense, or whatever the resources, say for an example, the Google is one of the important cloud service provider, okay, and whatever the resources that they are going to deliver to the customer, and they will be collected in one set of data center, more than one data center, and that is called as resource pooling. Resource pooling is nothing but collection of resources, okay. Next one, rapid elasticity or expansion. Based on a user need, based on the user requirement, the elasticity can be done. As in a previous slide, what we have seen, elasticity means that scale up or scale down, okay, that is called as elasticity. The elasticity is nothing but scale up or scale down. Based on the user requirements, we can scale up the services, as well as we can scale down the resources. That is one of the important characteristics of the cloud computing, okay. And the last one is measured services, which means that based on the usage by the particular customer, the amount will be get calculated. So these things are the main characteristics of the cloud computing, which is being defined by NIST. As you all know, what is NIST? National Institute of Science and Technology, okay. Fine. Let us move on to the next one, and now we are going to see the history of cloud computing, okay. And as you all know, we have started in the era of a personal standalone desktop computer. Then we move on to the client server paradigm. Then we move on to the grid computing, and now we are in the era of cloud computing. The personal standalone, in the sense, as you all know, initially, after the invention of the computer, everything will be operated in a standalone manner, okay. Then after the invention of networking concept, then they were move on to the client server paradigm, okay. Then they were move on to the grid computing concept. As you know, grid computing in the sense, is like a grid, okay. So like a grid, so consider this is a grid, okay. Like a grid, the resources will be collected, whatever the resources that is reside in an organization, and everything will be collected in a centralized manner, okay, in a common place, okay, and that is being distributed over the and that can be available by the users, of the particular organization, those who are reside in the common network. That is called as grid computing, okay. And now we are in the era of cloud computing. And this is where the cloud computing has evolved, okay. Let us dig little bit deeper into that particular topic, okay. In the early 1960s, the mainframe came into use. Like, as you all know, what is the purpose of mainframe? In the sense, to handle the large set of applications, to process the large set of applications of an organization, okay. And in 1969, the ARPANET, okay, as you all know, the ARPANET is Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. It is the base for networking concept. And once after the invention of the ARPANET came into use, then after that only the internet has evolved, okay. What is the purpose of internet? As you all know, anyone in the person can access any resources which is reside in any corner of the world. That is the purpose of the internet, right, okay. And in 1970, the concept of virtual machines were created. So kindly listen carefully. in the year of 1970 itself, the virtual machine concepts were created. Okay, and surely I will, we will dig much deeper into that particular topic in a later of the phase. Okay, no need to worry about it. In 1990, most of the telecommunication providers, they are started to provide virtual private network connection. As you heard the term VPN, right? VPN is nothing but virtualized private network connection. Okay, that came into use in the year of 1990s. And in the year of 1997, one of the professor named Rana Chellappa of Emory University, he defined the cloud computing is the new computing paradigm. Just look at the year. In the year of 1997 itself, the professor has coined the term the cloud computing is going to be a new computing paradigm. Okay, and in the year of 1999, the Salesforce.com is one of the application, is one of the software as a service provider, and they have provided the enterprise level application, to their customers through the web. Okay, to the customers to the web. This is one of the, this is the first, the Salesforce.com has initiated the software as a services initially. Okay, and in the year of 2003, the VMM has created. Okay, VMM is nothing but virtual machine monitor, and we will see, surely we will see much deeper about the VMM in the later of the unit, surely. And in the year of 2006, the Amazon, as you all know, Amazon is the leading cloud service provider. They have introduced the two main thing. One is EC2, another one is S3. The EC2 is nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud, by which we can create a virtual machine. Through that virtual machine, we can run any sort of application in it. Okay, and then another component, another service in the sense simple storage service. And with these two things, say for example, with the help of EC2 and S3, we can run a virtual machine. Or we can run an application in a virtual machine, or else we can, with the help of simple storage service, we can store data in a cloud. Okay, we can store the data in a cloud. Okay, so in the year 2006, Amazon has introduced two set of services. One is EC2 and another one is S3. EC2, which means that Elastic Compute Cloud, and S3, which means the simple storage service. Okay, and in the year of 2009, Google has introduced Google Apps. So as you all know, we are having n number of Google Apps as a free of cost. Okay, like Gmail, or Drive, Google Drive, another one is Google Docs. Google Docs is one of the best example for software as a service. Google Drive comes under infrastructure as a service. Gmail, which comes under software as a service. A lot of Google apps has been introduced in the year of 2009 at free of cost. Okay, at free of cost. Even at free of cost, it has been given as an add-on. In the year of 2011, IBM has introduced IBM Smart Cloud Framework for the particular organization. In the year of 2012, Oracle came into picture. They have introduced the Oracle Cloud. From then onwards, the cloud computing has evolved a lot. Yeah, from then onwards, the cloud computing has evolved a lot, and it has reached greater heights in the computing paradigm, which we are currently using that. Okay, and very happy guys. We will see on the next video about the roots of cloud computing, and you can ping or follow me through any one of these social media platforms, and if you wish, you can subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you guys.